waiting for the time we can surf together in San Diego.
Nice
Sometime.
to see you too.
All right. See you later.
Thank you for the news. And it's nice to see you, Salvina, too. Great. I'm so glad that you're there. It's been so long. All right. Well, if you've patiently sat through class and the discussion and the news, if you need to go to the restroom, feel free. Uh, However, if you want to embark on a Q&A journey with me, here we are. It looks like I see some questions in the chat already. So I'll just jump right in. We have about an hour, so I'll get started. And if you have something that you want to talk about with me, you're welcome to ask vocally or write in the chat, no problem. And you know what? I'll join the English channel
Hello，
just in case we need to.
谢谢
Hi, Violet. Okay, go ahead. And then Irvivor, I'll come to your question next. Go ahead, Violet.
老师。我想请问
Thank you,
老师一个
teacher.
问题，就
I'd
是
like to
做
ask a
思语
question
受冥想的时
that's
候，
in
我们
Tonglen
对
meditation.
空性的理解做的
We
时候，我
hold
可以
an
理解
understanding
为
of
对
emptiness
方是我种子
to
创造的，
understand that the other
然后
person is
坏种
created
子
by
打
my
开
own
的
seeds.
唯一
And
方
when
式
this,
就是
the
消
only
极
way
的
to
唯一
let
方式就是让它打
the
开，
only
然
way
后这
to
样我可以
dissolve it is
升
to
起
let
很
the
多
seed
的
open.
慈悲和爱。
Then I can
但
develop
是
a
我
lot
的
of
问题是，如
compassion
果
and
4
love.
朵花开，
My
让我
question
看
is,
到周围
if
的
the
环
four
境越来
flowers
越好，
open and I
那么
see
如果
that
按这个
my
逻辑，
environment
是不是
becomes
我
better and
也
better
浪费了我很
according
多
to
好
this
种子
logic?
啦？就是在
Is it
如果 4
also
朵花
using up
开，
a lot
周
of
围
my
的
good
环境
seeds?
越来越好，我
Meaning,
怎么
if
带着
with
空
the
性的
four
理解
flowers
去
I
理
can
解
see
这
the
一个细
environment
节嘞？
becomes better
谢
and
谢老
better, how can
师。
I understand the details? Thank you,
Okay.
teacher.
Okay, 谢谢你。我喜欢这个问题。I like this question. I think it's a great question. So it's basically if you do anything like Tonglen meditation and you plant really good seeds, and then you start to see less pain in your world, since this is very logical, since that happiness is the result of your good seeds, is it using up your good seeds when you see other people getting, when you see your world getting better? Amazing. Absolutely, it is. But um, this is like if you are doing something and you see your world getting better, that means that your practice is not only helping you, but it's helping other people in the world. And you can just knowing that and just feeling some happiness in your heart is going to plant so much more powerful good seeds. Like if you get to the point where you're seeing less pain in your world over the long term, of then you are really close to creating a situation where your seeds are perpetually getting better and more powerful. So the only recommendation that I personally understand and have for you is to just keep feeling really happy about the fact that you're seeing your world get more peaceful. Like just rejoice, do a lot of coffee meditation about this, and also like dedicate, the fact that you're seeing beauty just in your mind, like dedicate it to a future which is more beautiful for everyone in the world, that other people will experience a world free of pain, like keeping this motivation in your heart. And I would also suggest um, trying to just figuring ways that you can use this peaceful experience. Like maybe your mentality, maybe it helps your mind feel more peaceful because your world is more beautiful and there's less suffering. And then you feel more peaceful. And you can use this to inspire others, to help others, to teach or to share what you've learned. That's going to help you to create like a perpetual motion of good seeds, like an upward spiral. Like your world gets better, you're happier, you have more ability to help other people to be happy. That plants even more powerful good seeds. Then you feel even more happy. Then you can even help more people. So this is the kind of like upward spiral that we are trying to achieve with our practice. So I think the answer is never stop working on it. Don't just relax because things are getting better. I mean, relax, but keep working hard. Keep working hard to plant good seeds. Keep working hard to help people. And it's going to just get better and better. Of course, there will always be ups and downs because that is the nature of the human experience. But hopefully it will be like up, then down, but always a little bit more up than down. So our life is always getting better, hopefully. So I hope that answers your question. A lot of dedication, coffee meditation, and never stop working hard to help other people to have a better life. And I'll try to go slow. I realize I may have been speaking fast. So apologies to the translators. And I'm going to answer Irvivor's questions. At least one of them. How can I explain to a person in a short and precise way what we really are according to the Madhyamika Prasangika school? The idea that we are a stream of seeds. I guess that's an easy question to answer. I don't know if it's the best to approach it as far as what we are. Maybe that depends on who you're talking to. But I think the most short and concise way to explain to somebody this is the pen story that Geshe Michael tells. So you start with this kind of psychological analysis of how a pen exists. Then anybody with any sense who hears this explanation will eventually apply that to themselves. Oh, you're saying that, well, actually, you tell them when you do the pen talk, this pen is empty. Once you've proved that, you can say, and this applies to everything in the universe. So Nick is also empty. Irvivor is also empty. And then when somebody understands that they are empty, then you explain to them, we are a ripening of our seeds. And we talk about this in the pen. I'm assuming everyone here has heard the pen story. But in short, very, very briefly, you show a pen. I don't have one. You show a pen to the audience, and then you say, what is this? It's a pen. Show it to a dog. What is it for a dog? Something to chew on. Okay, who's right? Both. I put this pen on the table, and all the humans leave the room, and all the dogs leave the room. At that time, which is it? Neither one. So if there's nobody looking at it, it's neither a pen nor a chew toy. It's empty. It's a blank screen waiting for somebody to project a story upon it for what it is. Okay, so the dog comes back, the human comes back. When the human looks at it, it's a pen. When the dog looks at it, it's a chew toy. So which way is the pen coming? This way or this way? It's coming this way. We are projecting the story pen. There's no penness inside the object. And that applies to everything in the universe. So it also applies to Nick. There is no Nick that is independent of a story being projected from my mind. And in these ancient books, we call it seeds. The stories are coming from seeds in our mind. And those seeds get in our mind through our actions. Everything that we do, say, and think plants a seed in our mind. And what a pen is, or what a phone is, or what this is, or what anything is, it's all dependent upon the seeds that are projecting from our minds. It's a story that's determined by the seeds in our minds, which are planted by our actions. So what am I? I am a ripening. I am the story that I'm telling myself I am. And for you, Irvivor, I am something different, something similar perhaps. But the Nick that you know in your mind is different than the Nick that I know. We all have different interpretations of everything. So what we are is determined by who's looking at us. So maybe that's the most concise way to explain that to somebody. And there is not number two question. What's the difference between how we project reality between the lower and higher middle way schools? There's a long discussion of that in the appendix of the 60 Verses on Reasoning commentary. That is my translation, which will be published really soon. It's still in editing. But in short, very briefly, there's not much difference. The middle way, both schools accept that everything that you perceive requires a basis and a mind to project a story onto that basis. Now, the basis also, each part of the basis is also projected by seeds. And so the only difference in a very simple way between the lower and higher middle way school is that the lower middle way isn't dealing with the basis as much. They don't necessarily discuss the fact that the basis, each little part of the basis is also coming from seeds all the way to infinity. But they don't actually say that there's something out there. They just don't deny as much. And to get more intricate than that is not going to be, we're not going to do that in this Q&A session, but there is a lot more specific detail on the differences between the two middle way schools. But that could be a series of classes or something that we could do someday. I mean, I'd be happy to embark on that kind of class someday, but not this month. But if that's something you're interested in, we could talk about it. Just email me. And I saw your email, Irvivor, and I'll get back to you. I'm sorry. It's been a busy time. Now, I see someone has their hand up. I do want to... Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Hello, Teacher Nick. My question is, I killed an ant accidentally. Or if I eat eggs or drink milk, which of the karma of these is more serious? If I eat eggs, is it same as killing? Thank you, teacher.
Wow, great question. I think personally, I don't have the definitive answer on this. I'll share my thoughts. If you eat eggs, that's actually an unfertilized embryo. So it's not conscious life. So no animal was killed for you to eat eggs. Is there cruelty involved in the production of eggs and milk and cheese? Often, I think there is, because they don't treat the animals well. So, I don't know. I eat eggs and I eat cheese, and I really try to make sure that the eggs and the cheese that I eat is from a humane source. Like, I will pay a little bit extra for free range eggs. So you buy them from chickens who live on a farm where they can walk around, and it's a It's a humane, they are treated well. And same with butter and cheese. I try to only eat from humane sources. If you can't, is it a bad karma? Yeah, a little bit, because participating in a system that treats animals unkindly is not, it's a little bit of bad seeds, yeah. And you're not doing it on purpose. So I think it's actually quite similar to the seeds of accidentally stepping on an ant. It's like some of these things are almost unavoidable in our situation in this life. Like if you get in a car and drive the car, you're gonna kill bugs. It's just gonna happen. And also the emissions from the car are harming the environment, which are hurting, other humans and birds. And so something about samsara is that it's a broken world. And almost everything is tainted with some little bit of negative seeds. And so the best that we can do is work really hard to change this reality into something that is not tainted with this kind of negativity. And so there's a lot of work to do because it's hard. It's hard to be in situations where you will do no harm. So I think that it's really important as practitioners that we check in all the time, every day with our motivations. What's my motivation for being alive? What's my motivation for eating the eggs? I want to be stronger so that I can be a better help to people. If I am strong, then I can be, in a better position to help the world. I wouldn't use that as an excuse to eat meat or something, because that involves killing animals. So it's like, I look at it like this. We can do our best. We can do our best to try to be as peaceful and nonviolent with our words, with our actions, and with our thoughts. And with our actions, that means like we can do our best not to participate in any activity that harms life. But if we do anything, it does involve harming life to some extent. So we really just need to understand that, not get depressed about it, but rather try to purify ourselves of negative actions as best we can, and just set our motivation really high every day, that we're doing our best to help other people. And I recommend that, like, it's okay, like don't be hard on yourself because we're in a situation where many of our activities harm life. It's not your fault. It's like, it's not to feel bad. It's just to like be realistic about our situation should help to motivate you to practice. For me, it's like it fuels the fire that makes me want to like practice more and be more kind and help people more, and support, people more, and teach and share this wisdom as much as possible so that together we can cultivate a mindset that will lower the amount of harm that we do collectively. And I think we can do it. It just takes work. So motivation is big. I was going to answer a question from Tu Hien Din, and it says, in the Two Husbands in the Kitchen story, the wife breaks the downward circle by becoming aware of the second husband's absence, then stops reacting. But there is a reality that the husband is angry and hurt right in front of her. What can the wife do to help him? That's a great question. In my opinion, oh, hang on 1 second. I'm sorry, excuse me. Something in my family. Sorry. So, this is a great question, and my answer is the best thing that she can do to help him is be an example. And like most of the time, the best thing that we can do to help people is be an example of patience, kindness, and not reacting. So, probably if he's angry at her, it would not help for her to say, oh, whatever is making you mad is coming from your own seeds, like probably it's not a good time for the wife to explain emptiness to her husband. Probably. If he's mad, probably the best way to help him in the moment is to stay patient, stay kind, natural kind, not too kind, so that it won't make him more angry, but just to stay patient and kind and thoughtful and be a good example of peace. Then later, when he's not angry, then is a good time to try to slowly, if they're open to it, try to approach ways to help, like understand reality better so that they won't fight. But, in the moment, just be an example. That's the best thing. And it's hard. It's super hard. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying, I think that in the moment of anger, that's the best you can do. Is stay peaceful, and your peace will help to calm them down. That's my short story. Let's see. Okay, I see Kun Nu Tan has a question. Has her hand raised.
Yes, thank you, teacher. Yeah, I have a question, teachers, about the meditation. Do you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yeah, like I understand, I remember the teacher Geshe Michael Roach said, in meditation we have a two part. Conversation mind is mean the mind thinking, and the second in 1 hour we need to focus on one single object, right? Yes. And at present, when I do meditation, I review the emptiness from the pen story to husband in the kitchen and about the chichera. And I see I change the object about the pen, to husband's chichera or something like that. Is good or I think it's not single object. So I want to ask about your sharing about your experience about how you do meditating on 1 hour focus. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your question. It's a great question. So the question is, during her meditations, she changes objects. She goes from like a emptiness analysis based on the pen, two husbands, chichadra, and maybe other emptiness analysis.
Yes.
So it's okay. There's different kinds of meditation. Jogom, Chegom, Shargom. So in the Tibetan language, those are three distinctions. Single point fixed meditation, analytical meditation, and a review meditation. So you can do a review meditation is like reviewing all the things you learned about in class, like in a list. So I'll do this kind of meditation before I teach. I often will do a shargom, I will make an outline of everything I'm going to teach, and then I will review point by point everything so that it's fresh in my mind, and I will review the outline forwards and backwards and expand on each point in my mind in meditation. So, can you say that is a single object? Kind of, because my list is one object. I'm going through all of the details of the object, but the outline of the teaching that I'm going to give, you could say, is the one object. So that's okay. You're talking about an analytical meditation where you're trying to analyze and understand emptiness more deeply, right? So for
Yes.
that, I would say yes. It's not the same as doing a single pointed fixed meditation, and I think you should practice both in
Yes,
different
it's hard to
in
focus
different
on one
sessions.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But it's good to do the analytical meditation. So analytical meditation means there's a problem that you're trying to understand more deeply, and then you analyze it with your mind, and you try to sit quietly so that you'll be able to go more deep into the question that you're trying to analyze. So when you're analyzing the Chichedrak, which is hard, it really helps to be meditating. So what I would advise is at the beginning of any meditation session, it's really good to do at least like 10 breaths where you put your mind only on the breath. The feeling, maybe it's different for everybody, but maybe the feeling of the breath at the tip of the nose. And just try to not think about anything else. Just keep gently bringing your mind back to that. And so at least you're doing a little bit of time to bring the mind in and focus. Okay. And get into a state of meditation, which is actually different. It's different brain waves than when you're just awake and thinking. So your brain is actually doing something different when you go into a state of meditation. So it's really good for you. So I highly recommend that you do at least this little bit of breath meditation at the beginning. And then when you do the preliminaries, if you do that, you do some visualization, some steps. And then if you're going to analyze emptiness, that's amazing. So that is your object. The analysis is your object. And so just don't let the mind stray from your analysis. So if you're thinking about, Chichedrak, like is a Chevrolet a car? Is a car a Chevrolet? You're thinking these different questions, this analysis of Chichedrak. And then all of a sudden the mind is thinking about like boba tea or something. Then catch the mind and bring the mind back to the analysis. See what I mean?
Yes,
So
yes,
that's all.
I got it.
That's all. So then your analysis is your object. So just try to stay in that analysis for
Yes.
the duration of your meditation.
Yeah.
And
So it means if I sorry. So
Yep.
I mean is if I choose analysis, so I just focus on analysis, and if I want to review some lesson like Bodhicitta or review some lesson I learned, I should to move in another meditation, right?
Do that the next day. Do that the next day. Yeah.
Okay.
So before you sit down, decide today I'm going to review my class.
Mhm.
Tomorrow I will do the emptiness analysis. The next day I will do jogom. So jogom is fixed single point meditation where you just put your mind on one image and just keep it there for the whole time. So in this third type, then this is just like think of your teacher or something, just their face or, whatever, or your breath, whatever it is, just keep the mind there. for 1 hour. Okay. So this is single point, jogum. So you have to, it's good to practice that also sometimes for 1 hour. So
Thank you so much.
try to learn all three kinds of meditation.
Thank you so much, sir.
Of course, yeah. Thank you so much for the question. I'm gonna do a question from Rosillo. Arya Nagarjuna lived more than 600 years. This means that I have the seed of perceiving a great teacher who lived for many years. Now, my question is, what seed can I continue to perpetuate that good seed? In other words, what is their cause for perceiving an Arya at this time to live for more than 500 years? I don't know. That's a great question. Really good question. They say, and you probably already know this, Rosillo, but they say that the seeds for seeing, your teacher live a long life is harmony within the Sangha. So keeping a harmonious existence between you and the other students. So I think that's the best answer that I have. Protecting life, keeping harmony within, the practitioners is really important also. And in my opinion, also just being happy and practicing what they teach you. I think that gives the teacher it sustains the teacher. I think these are things that I have heard a little bit here and there, but definitely I learned that the seeds to see the teacher have a long life is harmony with your fellow students. So I think that's a good one.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, yeah. Let's see. Am I talking slow enough, you guys? Okay. The translators just tell me if I'm starting to get too fast. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Berta. Here we go. From Sophie Huang. If cause and effect are empty, cause is empty, effect is empty, and the connection between cause and effect is empty. Does that mean that good causes do not necessarily have good effects? No. Then moral principles such as good karmas of top 10 cannot be called principles, and the result of generosity does not necessarily lead to wealth. Stinginess may lead to wealth. Does not mean that. It's an interesting question. Cause and effect are empty. That's true. I'll start like this. Gravity is empty. Gravity on Earth. Gravity on Earth is empty. But does that mean I can let go of my phone and it will not fall? Of course not. So just because something is empty does not mean that it will not always work. And the fact that something is empty means that it doesn't exist from its own side. It means that it requires a perceiver to experience it, to label it, and for it to exist. So a cause, let's take a cause. A cause is empty because it's not a cause until it produces a result. It depends upon the result for it to be what it is. There's nothing that's a cause from its own side. It depends upon the result, for example. And then if you've studied Nagarjuna, you know that actually there never is any moment where there exists something that you can truly call a cause. Because once the result has come, the cause is gone. So the point is, a cause, like a seed, while it exists, is never a cause. When the sprout comes, the seed that existed before is the cause. There is no sprout. So what exists as a cause. Only your story of the seed. Only your story of the seed that existed before. So you label it a cause. So it's empty of being a cause from its own side. It depends upon your mind to call it a cause. Okay, that's what it means for the seed to be empty. And that's what it means for cause and effect to be empty. They depend upon your seed to label them as cause and effect. But the way that they function, the connection between cause and effect, also empty. Your mind makes the connection between cause and effect. But that is the way it works. Like cause and effect follow the laws of karma, the four laws of karma. So like makes like. That's the first law. You get a similar result. If you are generous, then you will receive abundance in your life. And that is true, even though, like, just because it functions based on your seeds rather than from its own side. But our seeds, all of us, create a situation where like makes like. And that's one of the fundamental rules of the universe, just like gravity or the other fundamental forces. And so my point is, though, I'm not able to prove to you why the laws of karma are true. That is something that we defer to the ancient books of why they are the way they are. But what I'm trying to tell you with my answer is just emptiness doesn't mean that things don't work. Emptiness means that they depend upon the seeds in your mind to be what they are. So it's a little different. So yes, they're empty. And no, that doesn't mean that stinginess could lead to wealth. It's a good question, though, and it's a hard concept. Okay. I'm going to move to another question. Does anybody want to ask one out loud, or should I keep reading from the chat? I love all the questions so far, by the way. You guys are
感恩
asking.
尼克老师
Go ahead.
细心解答。我想问，
Teacher, I'd like to
一个一
ask,
个的忏悔，这样精
doing
准的忏
confession
悔，
one by one
承
by
诺做
one
好是平衡更
accurately,
好，还是忏悔过去、现
is
在、
it
未来所有
better
我
to
做
confess
的恶业的
for the
种子，
past
哪一
or
个力量会更好一些？因为
confess
我
one
听
by
到
one
杰
the
西老师
bad
讲，
deeds that I'm
有
doing
一
now? Which one
次
is better? Because once I
林素
heard
老
from
师
Geshe
被
that
一根稻草
once
把头给
the
砍掉的
head of Arya
所
Nagarjuna
以
was
我
cut
想
by a
我过去
piece of
是有
grass. So
无
I'm
数的
thinking
杀
in my
了无
past
数的人
lives,
和生
I
命，
had
那
killed
我什么时候
infinite
才能
numbers of
把
lives.
这些坏的种
And
子
when
忏悔
can
干净，
I confess all of
再
them one
去
by
做
one?
好事平衡掉？
Yikes.
我想有
And
一个最快
afterwards, to
速
do
的
something good
方
to
法。
balance
感
it.
恩尼克老师，
I would
谢谢
like
您
to
的
know the fastest way to
智
do
慧
this.
耐心的
Thank you,
解释。
teacher, for your
感恩大家。
wisdom and your answers. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for asking the question. There's a principle that Geshe Michael outlined for us one time that is about when seeds will ripen. And I don't actually have it memorized, so I'll have to get it for you guys. But it has to do with the order in which they were planted. They will ripen in the same order in which they were planted, unless you had a super strong motivation, and then that would take precedence, unless it was done toward like a very extraordinary being, and then that would take precedence. And then there's another one, unless it was done I can't remember, but the power of the object, the person toward whom you're planting the seed, that will affect when it will ripen. The power of your motivation will affect also when will it ripen. Oh, and where you are in your life, like if you're very close to the moment of your own death, that could affect when it will ripen. So there's some factors. So that's interesting. But the answer to your question is like when to purify things. So I think that for me, it's a personal preference, right? First of all, any amount of purification that you're doing is amazing. If you are taking the time out of your day, every day, to try to reflect upon and clean bad seeds that you planted, that's amazing. You're amazing. And I would start by the things that you feel that if you feel that you did anything with a bad motivation, that you were actually intending to hurt somebody, I would start with that. And then, of course, I would work on any other negative things that you remember. And you could go back as far as your childhood. I don't think the order matters that much. It's just the fact that you're trying to clean your mind is incredible. So if you want to start from your childhood and work your way to the present, great. But I also advise you to not spend too much time each day visiting negative things that you've done. Instead, make sure you make an equal amount of time to rejoice and focus on the good things that you've done, the positive things, and do your coffee meditation for the same amount of time, because that's just very powerful to strengthen the good seeds so that's what's going to be ripening instead of the bad seeds. So you need both. And about past lives or something like that, we don't know what we've done. So I think in situations where you're doing a meditation to clean bad seeds, or if you're doing a fire ceremony or something to throw in the bad seeds, you can just say, you're purifying things that you did, and then say, and any other bad stuff that I don't remember, I also want to clean those bad seeds, and I will never do it again. Or I will try really hard to never do it again. Hold on. Try to let a little more light. We just moved recently, and I have no light in here. So I think that's the best answer that I have for you. But just make sure you're also doing an equal amount of time with coffee meditation. So Cherry, you had your hand up.
是，老师你好，我想追问刚才的那个问题，就是
For the question just now, you said gravity is emptiness. It doesn't mean when I open my hand, it won't drop. But there are some people who can fly, so gravity doesn't work for them. According to this logic, if kindness brings kindness and evil brings evil, how does it connect with that? And another question is, for the connection between cause and effect, it comes from my seeds, and I would like to make sure my seeds open correctly. What is the connection, please?
Okay. I've heard Geshe Michael talk about this a little bit. So basically, my answer as far as the fact that gravity is not a perfect comparison, because gravity, if people can fly, then gravity is not a perfect example, because the fact that gravity is empty then means someone could plant the seed that they won't have to obey gravity. And we all have that seed, actually, because we have a plane. and we can go on the airplane and we can fly. And but it doesn't disobey the laws of physics because it works with lift and drag. Now, that said, why is it that something that comes from our seeds, why is there this thing that comes from our seeds that doesn't change? I'm not really sure. That's my answer. It's a fixed law of how, I think, because there's something about the way that a sentient mind works, and there's something about the way that we are connected to one another. Like there's something about some fundamental connection between us. This is my guess, that the laws of cause and effect cannot change in this world. Okay, that's all I know. I don't have an exact answer for you for why, but I think that there's something about the way our mind is built and the way that we are related to each other. And other than that, you just have to think about it. But Geshe Michael says they cannot change. And the other part of your question was how to make sure that our seeds, our good seeds, ripen or something. This is interesting. Geshe Michael said that the seeds for a coherent reality, coherent, like the things make sense, because this can change, okay? Your reality can become incoherent. That would be like Alzheimer's, like this disease where you get really old and then you forget who your family is and you don't remember anything and everything is like chaos. So this can change, okay? So Geshe Michael has said the seeds to maintain a reality that is coherent and makes sense. It's explaining these beautiful ideas to people, and teaching, basically. That is I don't know if it's the only seed, but it is a very powerful seed to have a reality that continues to make sense. So that's cool. And if your question is just how to make sure good seeds ripen, then the answer is you already know. Coffee meditation. Really water your good seeds. Oh, it's getting dark in here. I forgot about this. So I hope that's helpful. I'm going to read this question from the chat. I was discussing emptiness with a classmate, and he suddenly mentioned that in class, he heard the teacher mention the emptiness of emptiness. But emptiness is ultimate. So how can there be emptiness of emptiness? If there is it due to our misunderstanding of emptiness? This is a great question. Yes, it's very smart. In a way, our emptiness, the fact that anything is empty, is due to our misunderstanding of the world. Okay? The only reason we ever have to talk about emptiness at all is only because we misunderstand things. But as humans, we fundamentally misunderstand things. I'm going to go to another room because it's getting so dark. Hold on one sec. Sorry about that. Oh, I look so bright now. So, there we go. So, how is emptiness empty? How are these glasses empty? Okay, what does that mean? Emptiness of the glasses means the glasses are empty of coming from themselves. There's no glassesness inside this object. The glassesness, the quality of being glasses is coming from my mind. Okay, it's coming from a seed in my mind. And that's true about everything in the universe. Okay. And things have always existed that way, and they always will. They are empty of having any nature of their own. Why do we have to talk about that? Because our mind is wired, our mind is the way that it functions is that it looks at things and it sees them as if they had some nature of their own. Look, there's my dog. He's a really good boy. Go ahead, boy. So that's why we have to say things are empty of existing that way. If they didn't appear to exist that way, we would never have to talk about emptiness. Okay? So at a certain point, we won't have to talk about it anymore. The emptiness of emptiness means that concept, the concept of emptiness, is also something that exists dependent upon our seeds. There is no absence of self-existence that exists independent of us, misperceiving things. So the existence of emptiness depends on our misunderstanding in general, actually. So if something depends on something else, then it's empty. It doesn't have self-existence. Emptiness is ultimate in the sense that when we try to find the deepest, truest nature of something, we come up empty. So it's ultimate. It's the final analysis. It's the furthest place, the furthest concept you can reach in your analysis of how we exist. It's the deepest you can go in your philosophical analysis of how we exist. So it's ultimate. But the concept is empty. It's dependent upon our minds to perceive it. So it's also dependent upon our misunderstanding. Otherwise, there's no emptiness that exists from its own side. And in that way, it's empty. Cool? Okay. So there's so many questions here. Somebody asks, I want to help Geshe Michael, but my ability is limited. In this case, what is the best way to express gratitude and support? Number one, practice what he's teaching in every way that you can. That's going to help him more than anything. Number two, be happy. Number three, support his vision for the world as best you can. If it's through teaching, money, to support his projects, volunteering, whatever, anything, whatever you can think of. But most importantly, practice and have fun. And this will support him very much. And be nice to people. And, just basically, his main thing is, if you want to help Geshe Michael, his goal is to create a world that is peaceful. So do everything you can to be peaceful and contribute to that goal. That would be my advice. And if you want to express gratitude, you can write him an email or, just thank him on your meditation cushion or anything, I think is fine. He appreciates it, just that you're doing your practice. But of course, he's also happy if you support his programs because that's part of his vision for making. So you can do your part personally to make the world a better place. And that's the number one thing. And if you can support Geshe Michael's programs, then maybe you're doing something even beyond what you can think of yourself, and maybe you can affect more people. That's one of the reasons that I'm doing what I do, because I don't have the level of vision that somebody like Geshe Michael has. I can't see the future, whatever. I'm not as creative, and I don't have this incredible imagination of how to help the world. So I like to help him who's helping the world. Now, somebody says, practicing emptiness will help me grow in wisdom, but only if I focus on practicing emptiness without doing 4 steps of normal goals like finances, health. Will I automatically achieve finances and health from practicing emptiness? I don't know. I think that the question is a little bit, what do you mean practicing emptiness? To me, practicing emptiness means understanding that things come from my seeds and planting good seeds by being kind. What do you mean by practicing emptiness? HV or H. Well, if your practice means planting good seeds, then it might help with finances and health if you plant the kind of good seeds that will ripen. If you're generous and if you protect life, then it will. So, according to my understanding of seeds, like makes like. So, in order to get the results of wealth and health, there have to be some causes present. So you have to plant some good seeds related to those things. And maybe you will do it accidentally, or I hope you have the seeds already, in which case studying emptiness can help you to make the seeds ripen faster. I think so. That's probably my case. I don't think I spend much time actively planting good seeds for wealth and health, but I should. I think I just happen to have some good seeds, and studying is helping them ripen faster. Okay, let's see. Anybody want to ask a question out loud? Or shall I keep reading from the chat? Elva, go ahead.
我记得
This is the last
格西
question.
老师讲过，就是
好，谢谢
龙珠老
Thank you,
老师
teacher,
的精彩回答
for
收获
your
非常大。
excellent
我还是
answers.
想问有关空
I have
性
a
的
lot
问
of
题。刚
takeaways.
才
I'd like
在
to
回答
ask
上
a
有一
question
个
about
问题说，
emptiness.
您说到一句
Just
话
now,
说，空
there
性
was a
就是
question. You said
取决于我
something.
们
You
怎么
said
打开，
emptiness
这
depends
个
on
就
the,
会
our
投射
seeds
出什么。
opening
那
and what we
那如
project
果
from our
说
mind.
以中
If we
观上
say,
部的解答
according
来
to
说，那这
Prasangika,
个
Majjhimika
又告诉我们
Prasangika,
说，
you
老
also
师
said
就是我们看到所有人都是老师。那
we see everyone as
空
our
性就
teacher.
是佛性
And
吗？这个
does
怎么
it mean
用
that
中
this
观上部
emptiness
的
is
逻
it
辑来
same
解
as
释呢？
Buddhahood? How do we explain this according to Prasangika?
翻译
I don't think I quite understood. I don't think I understood the question. Is emptiness the same as Buddhahood?
对，就是如果
Yes.
说我们这个空性就是我们准备
If
打
we
开投
say
射的，那中
emptiness
观上
is
部告诉我
our
们，
seeds opening,
所有
projecting
的
something, and
我们所有遇到
Prasangika
的一
tells
切都
us
是
that's
都是这
everything
个老
we
天使的教授。
see
那我们如
is
何用
teaching
这
from
个
angels.
某一个学
Then
派来解
how can
释？
we use a school to explain this?
Okay, I understand. So and this is the last question, okay, because I gotta go. So emptiness means that everything that we experience in life is not itself. Okay, it means it like the pen is not a pen from its own side. Okay, that's the meaning of emptiness. The pen is not a pen from its own side. So my dog is not a dog from his own side. Okay, great. Seeds, dependent origination, means what I do see, the thing that fills. So there's an empty space here. I thought there was let's say my dog. I thought there was a dog here, and there is, but it's not the way I thought. So it's empty. It's empty of existing the way I thought. Okay, then comes Mr. Dependent Origination. Dependent origination is, it comes from my seeds. According to Madhyamaka Prasangika, a highest school, the dog that I do see is coming from my seeds. Okay. That's emptiness, is there is no dog the way that I thought there was. Dependent origination means dog come from my seeds. According to highest school, dog is coming from my seeds. Okay, now I have a dog. Ruff. Okay, so now that's emptiness. So emptiness is not the same as Buddhahood. Buddhahood means because Nick is empty, because Nick is coming from my seeds, then I can create a Nick that is a Buddha if I plant the right seeds. Okay, that's Buddhahood. If I plant the right seeds, then I will be Buddha. It's a lot of work, but I'm working on it. Now, your last part of your question about angels. If I plant the seed, and so the dependent origination, meaning when the seeds open from my mind and they project out, maybe instead of seeing a regular dog, ruff, ruff, I see an angel, maybe, you know. Okay, there he is. Good boy. Maybe I can see an angel if I have very good seeds. And the same with me. If I have very good seeds, maybe I can see an angel. That's the connection between emptiness and Buddhahood. Okay, that's all I got for tonight. Thank you guys so much. Really a wonderful time to get to spend here to answer questions. And I look forward to doing it again really soon. Have a great night, everybody. And again, thank you for the amazing questions. Every single one of the questions I read tonight or I heard was really good. I appreciate you all. Okay, bye.
Thank you so much, teacher.
Hi, everyone. For those staying for the Tibetan class, for the West Chinese alphabet class, we have our last session today. My name is Roxana, for those who were here last week.